Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
I've lived a long time, Buffy, and I'm past that. I've been with dozens of girls like her. More.
Oh, this honesty stuff is fun.
And there's no comparison. I mean, 243 years, I've loved exactly one person.
Oh. It is me, right?
Next time, just ask.
Okay.
Buffy, be careful with this gift. A lot of things that seem strong and good and powerful, they can be painful.
Like, say, immortality?
Exactly. I'm dying to get rid of that.
Funny.
I'm a funny guy.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, giving our review, our reaction. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 18, titled Earshot, directed by Regis Kimball, written by Jane Espenson. The original air date. Now we're getting into some craziness here, because there's a little bit of chicanery happening. So the original air date for this is September 21st, 1999, to an audience of 5.08 million people. However, this episode was originally scheduled to be broadcast on April 27th, but it was postponed due to the Columbine High School shooting massacre that happened on April 20th in 1999. So this episode got pushed quite a bit. Actually, the next episode, episode 19, aired before this one did. So, with that being said, Vance, what do you think about this episode?
Wow, what a lead into this.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? This episode started out a little slow. Mm-hmm. Had a really weird messaging at the end.
I was going to say, the first question I wanted to ask you about this episode is, do you think it was handled tactfully?
I think it was handled in the way Buffy the Vampire Slayer handles topics like this.
I agree.
Right.
There is a part of me that says, like, this isn't very tactful. There are tactful moments.
Yeah.
But then they get undercut weirdly.
Ooh, that undercutting I was just like, really, guys?
Yeah.
Really?
It was odd, especially considering the subject matter that they're tackling here.
Yeah.
Which is it's still salient even to this day.
I know.
Yeah. Which is very unfortunate. Like, even more so today.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one I was like, okay, this is kind of tactful. This is interesting. It's an interesting spin on this kind of shit. And then it just goes out the window for me.
And then they just go Buffy silly, which I loved. I love the Buffy silly. Then they go undercutty. Mm-hmm. And then they also do the thing that the show does, where it throws in a really random twist reveal that you don't expect coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, why is that even here now?
Yeah. It's a bizarre one. I can see why it got pushed back, especially after the Columbine High shooting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk about this really quick before we get into the episode. To me, I feel like the Columbine High school shooting was like the first big school shooting that I can remember. Is that like kind of the first big one that you can remember too?
Yeah, that was the big one that made like headlines. And it was just like, because it was the two kids, they had armed guards going in there and they just were like running through that place. They made the documentary that I think won an Academy Award maybe.
like this one. So there's a line in this episode where they talk about like how common school shootings seem to be. Mm-hmm. And this episode predates Columbine, which I thought was like, the first big one. Mm-hmm. And then I was just kind of thinking after I heard that, I was like, I mean, how common was it before Columbine? Like, I don't remember, maybe just because of my age or whatever, but I don't remember any like big school shootings happening before that.
No, I mean, they probably were like school. I think it's tricky because I'm wondering because I knew like certain schools in Baltimore would have like the public schools would have, you have to have clear backpacks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember if that was before or after Columbine, but it was more like, oh, there's kids bringing guns to school and a fight might break out and a kid might shoot someone. But it wasn't, I don't think it was so much you go in and you shoot up a whole school, but they reference that in this pre-Columbine. So I would have to do a little more research.
Me too.
And I did not.
I love how I was like, do you think that this episode was handled tactfully? And then I'm like, are we going to handle this tactfully?
It's going to be handled as tactfully as we do.
We're going to try, everybody. I've got a limited edition Mountain Dew flavor with me. It's called Voodoo. So who knows? This could go off the rails.
Man, this subtle sponsorship that we keep getting.
I know. Mountain Dew Voodoo. It's a mystery flavor, people. But all right, shall we get into the episode here, Vance?
Before we get into it, I do want to give a shout out to Caroline W37, who left us a really lovely review on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Remember, everybody.
Yeah.
You review us on Apple Podcasts, you get a shout out.
Shout out.
So thank you. What is it? Carolyn W36 something?
37. Carolyn. Not sure of the pronunciation, but sure. Yeah. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Glad you're enjoying the show.
Remember, we got a Patreon.
The show.
Remember, we got a Patreon too. We're going to have some extra shit coming up on there real soon. So yeah, stay tuned. All right. So this episode opens up with a recap of the last episode of everything that happened with Faith and Angel and the Ascension and Buffy being insecure about Angel kissing Faith and all that jazz. And then also the Buffy and Angel, we need to go on a break thing that the episode ended with. So we get that. And then the episode actually opens up with Buffy fighting two demons in a playground. They're these big Power Ranger putty monster looking things. They got no mouths. And she's fighting them. She's kicking their asses. And eventually she kills one of them with a knife. And the other one runs off. But after she kills this one demon, she gets some kind of like weird branding on her hand that's in the shape of the blood splatter of the demon, which is like this electric blue, neon blue, glowy stuff.
Very Predator-esque.
Yeah. So she kills that demon. The other one gets away and she's like, well, I'll go get that one later.
Classic. Like you can see it running away.
Yeah.
I think they even reused that shot later in the episode too of it running away. But I mean, just chase, because the scene starts with her running from them and doing what she calls the run and stumble, where she runs, falls over, and then they chase after her. She trips them.
Yeah. She trips to make it look like she is
helpless.
Yeah. And then the demon's above her and she's like, you always fall for the trip and stumble. And then she turns. It's like, you're in a much less advantageous position on the ground.
Also, if you're that good, chase after the one that's running away.
Right?
That's the whole job.
Good old classic Buffy, never chasing after anything. Except for Angel.
And she's already got him.
Yeah. So it's school the next day, and Buffy's talking to Willow about the two demons, and the gang is researching about the Ascension, and they're coming up empty. Giles is like, well, based on what we know, we can rule out the rise of a demon Amarath or whatever, and that's basically all I got shit, dude. And everybody's like, geez, Giles, come on.
Yeah, I was saying that last episode when they did that whole big twist and they were like, yeah, you got everything? We got it. I'm like, what did you guys get?
Yeah.
Like, what info did you get from that? Like, you know the date.
Yeah, they know that it's graduation day.
That's it.
And that the mayor is invincible. They did learn that little tidbit.
Yeah.
But that's about the intel that they learned. And what was the price that they had to pay? Buffy had to watch Faith smooch and mac on her boy.
Yeah. So they didn't really lose anything.
Yeah. So Giles is a little frustrated. He's like, yeah, I don't really know what the fuck's going on, guys. I'm sorry about that. So Wesley shows up late and everybody's like, where the hell were you? And he was like, I was indisposed. Anyway, let's research the Ascension. Anybody come up with anything? And they're like, no, we're having a rough time. And then he kind of like gets a little snarky with Giles. He's like, oh, a little bit of a rough time, huh? Good thing that I'm doing some official Watcher Council business.
Well, the way it goes is he comes in and Giles is like, oh, I was giving them a rundown of what I found. He's like, oh, so what did you do after that minute? And then Giles is like, touche. And then Giles walks around the table and he goes, well, since you have the official capacity and the backing
of the Watchers Council. What did you find out there, buddy boy?
And then he says the Azeroth thing, and everyone just gets up and leaves.
Yeah, kind of roll their eyes at him like, you're fucking worthless.
Yeah.
And Giles sitting there and he's like,
we both don't know anything and the world's about to end. Great.
Good job there, Wes, young whippersnapper.
And did you think Wesley was coming from hooking up with Cordelia?
No, but I was confused as to like where he was and why he was late. And I'm also still very confused as to how he gets away with hanging out at this high school all day, especially later in the episode.
They are hanging out in the library like they have a little study room.
Yeah.
And it's like all the students there and the librarian and some random guy.
Yeah. I just don't understand how he gets away with this. Like, maybe he... yeah.
We just need like a half a scene where he talks to Principal Snyder about being like a guidance counselor or something. I don't know.
Like a library teacher's assistant. Librarian assistant.
Something. Just something that excuses them for being in school.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody kind of rolls their eyes at Wesley, head out, and he's just left there. And Giles is like, oh, okay, you ain't shit, Wesley. So then Willow's talking to Buffy and she asks Buffy if, are you and Angel all good? I know that you were a little upset about the whole Faith situation. And Buffy's still jealous about it. She still got her hang-ups about it. She's like, I don't know. I just wonder if he actually liked it. I'm worried that he had more, that it was more than just an act. And he was just like really wanted to bang Faith and blah, blah, blah. And then out of nowhere, some dude comes walking down the hallway named Hogan. And everyone's like, hey, what's up, Hogan? How are you, Hogan? And then Xander gets all jealous. He's like, oh, everybody thinks this fucking Hogan guy is the coolest guy ever because he can put a stupid ball through a net. He's not that cool. And then Hogan goes, oh, hey, what's up, Xander? And Xander's like, oh, my God, he said hi to me. Yeah. Gets all schoolgirly. And then Hogan's traveling with Percy West, who, as we learned in the last couple episodes in Doppelgang Land, he is the tutee. He's being tutored by Willow, and he comes up to Willow and he's like, hey, I did the readings. I did almost all the readings last night. And Willow's like, did you do all of them? He's like, no, I'll do the rest of it at lunch. And Willow's like, okay, good job. And he's like, you going to come to the game tonight? And she's like, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And then Percy and Hogan walk away. And then he goes, see you later, Xander. And Xander's like, oh, fuck yeah, this guy acknowledged me.
Percy's in 2 episodes.
Yeah. Now, I remember in Doppelgang Land, you had the theory that Willow was going to try and hook up with Percy West. And I was like, I don't see that at all. In this scene, I was like, is Vance fucking onto something? Is Vance a soothsayer, dude?
I thought she was going to like study at his place. It'll be close and then like something would happen. And she'd be like, I'm a bad girl, so I'm going to do it. It was a brief thought that I had. Never thought he was coming back in the show after that episode.
Me neither.
But now she's like, oh, I'm going to the pep rallies. I'm going to the games. He's all happy talking to her.
Yeah, well, like when Percy and Hogan leave, Buffy's like, you're going to the basketball game?
Mm-hmm.
When do you care about basketball? And Willow's like, I never did, but I started going just to support Percy. And like, it's actually really freaking cool. And I love it.
Yeah, she's
and
like,
I was like, oh my God.
When Oz wasn't putting out, I had to like go to the
Look, I tried to fuck Oz. He turned me down. So what am I?
And Xander's, he's already taken. So
yeah.
The weirdest thing is Percy thinks that Willow is super strong because she choked the shit out of him at the Bronx.
Yeah.
Like that's his reality.
Yeah.
So
and then everybody else thinks that Willow is a cold-blooded murderer.
Yeah.
Just murdered that lady on the dance floor.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
So Percy and Hogan leave, and Buffy's like, yeah, I didn't know that you were going. And she's like, yeah, you should come, Buffy. We're all going. Xander, Oz, we're all going to go. Cordelia's going to be there. She's cheerleading. You should come if you weren't on patrol. And Buffy's like, yeah, man, sometimes being the Slayer sucks. And we're back in this whole shebang again.
And can I say, this patrol thing makes zero sense to me. Because we see her on patrol, and it's like her strolling down the street with Angel. Later. Mm-hmm. But shouldn't she be where the people are? Is it?
She wants to be where the people are.
I mean, it's just like wherever Buffy is, that's where the danger happens. So like, yeah, just have her go to the pep rally.
She should go to the Bronze every single night of her life.
Yeah, it should be the point where like, we think you have a problem. You go out to the club every night.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, because people die there every night.
She gets a reputation as like this big party girl. Like, yeah, you can't fucking do anything without inviting Buffy.
I still don't know what her reputation is in school.
Dude, especially after this episode, too.
Gets more and more confusing every episode.
But, yeah, so Buffy's sad that she can't go to the basketball game. And then she's showing Giles the demon branding. She was like, yeah, when I killed the first demon, it left a little like kind of scar or something. Now it's starting to itch. And Giles is like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Let me read about this demon. Here, is this the demon? And he shows her a book, and he's got the exact demon.
Meticulously sketched, like the demon stood still for a portrait.
Yeah. And Buffy's like, yeah, that's the demon. And Giles goes, oh, well, it's interesting because I just read that if you kill one of these demons and you touch it, like I guess skin to skin or something, if you get touched by this demon, it will infect you with an aspect of the demon. And Buffy's like, what? Are you serious? I'm going to get infected? Giles, infected with an aspect of the demon? And Giles is like, don't worry about it. Your itchy hand, it could be anything. It could be a new fabric softener.
I'm like, what are you talking about, Giles? When he said that, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that he's just trying to comfort her. Like, he's trying to comfort her a lot during this episode. Yeah. And then, like, later on, it just does not.
I don't think you have to pull punches with Buffy. Like, you guys have seen everything.
Yeah. So now Buffy is all fucking paranoid about this aspect of the demon thing. And we go to a scene where Cordelia's cheerleading, and she's in their cheerleading gang, and they're at this pep rally outside on the quad, and they're doing a Hogan specific cheer, which I have never seen a high school like specifically cheer for one player.
Yeah. You might have that player give the speech afterwards, like the team captain will like give a speech or whatever, but the cheerleaders at the pep rally, well, I don't even know if my school had cheerleaders. I don't think we did. I don't know. But yeah, I've never seen it done like, I mean, they're in the championships too, or whatever. They're in the playoffs.
They made it.
They're in the playoffs.
Playoffs. They're in, and
it's basketball season, so we still have a long time for graduation.
That's true. Basketball season
is a winter.
Several months.
It's the winter sport, yeah.
Yeah. But based on like how much this Hogan guy is being celebrated, like I don't know why they were so tripped up about Percy West. Like it seems like Hogan's the star of the show on the basketball team, and Percy is just kind of, I guess, like his his
I think they
Scottie
said,
Pippen.
I think they said Percy West is the star point guard, maybe.
Okay.
And this guy, who knows?
I guess he's the center. He looked really tall.
Looks really tall, but like tall for basketball.
Also,
that could be like he's a shooting guard, or like he could be a small forward. Yeah.
Also white.
Yeah. There's white players that are stars.
Yeah. He could be a Pau Gasol. He could be a Luka Doncic.
Yeah. I mean, you had a good basketball player at your white high school, right?
No.
Our
basketball team sucked.
Okay.
Also, we had way more black people at my high school than Sunnydale.
Was the basketball team all black?
It was like half and half, I think. I mean, our lacrosse team had black people. Like, it's not Sunnydale. Like, we both went to high school in Baltimore, Vance. But yeah, so they're doing a cheer for Hogan. It's a pep rally, and Willow's there, and Buffy's there, and Xander's there, and Oz is there, and they're all watching. And for some reason, like, Willow's reading the school newspaper, and she's like, "Man, this school newspaper is pretty dark, dude. It's pretty depressing. This guy named Freddie Iverson, like, his editorials are really depressing and apathetic, and just like, this guy's got problems, it seems like." Then she folds the paper down, she throws it down, and Oz goes, "Oh, I don't really read it. I just go straight to the obits." And I was like, "Nice, Oz. Very cool. Good line." And Buffy is like itching her neck, and she's itching all over the place. And she gets up, and she's still paranoid about this aspect of the demon thing. And Willow follows after, and she's like, "I just don't know what the fuck's going to happen, Willow. I'm checking for horns. I might grow a tail. Like, I don't know what this aspect of the demon is going to be, but I'm so fucking paranoid." And Willow's like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And she like woos at the pep rally. And Buffy's like, "Are you really not paying attention to me?" And yeah.
Oh, then she, or are you about to say what she says
next?
No.
You say it.
Oh, then she goes, well, the key takeaway is Willow goes, "Was it a boy demon?" Like a pregnancy scare type thing.
Well, I thought it was like, was it a boy demon? Like, because Buffy's like, "I could grow horns, I could grow a tail." And then Willow says, "Was it a boy demon?" And in my mind, it was like she could grow a demon dick.
In my mind, I was like, oh, she could be pregnant with a demon.
Well, either way, no bueno.
Yeah.
And then we go back to...
But she's dating a vampire, so like, what? I mean...
Very true. She did bang a vampire.
Yeah.
And it made him lose his soul. So, who knows? So we go back to Oz and Xander, and they're just kind of like gawking at the cheerleaders. And Xander's looking at Cordelia specifically, and he's like, "I don't know why I was ever so hung up on her. Like, look at all the rest of these sexy-ass cheerleaders. I could get with any of these cheerleaders. It's not a big deal. Cordelia's not that hot." And then Wesley walks by, and he's walking up the stairs on the quad, and Xander sees him looking at Cordelia, and Xander's like, "Look at this fucking guy. He's looking at my girl. Fuck Wesley. What a creep." And then Oz is like, "You're a very complex man there, Xander, aren't you?" Now,
yeah.
How visible is Wesley to this campus? And like, what is his...
How has a teacher not asked what is up with him?
Yeah.
Like, he's walking, it's like the busy quad. Everyone's on the staircase going up and down. He's there standing out in a really nice blue suit. Who is this guy?
Yeah. Like, not even a student's going to ask? Like, who? No one's curious?
I could see students not asking. A student might ask another student,
mm-hmm.
like, who that dude is. But I don't think they'd be like, "What?" Like, you just be like, "Oh, that's somebody's parent," or something. You know, like, you wouldn't really think about it. But a teacher has to be like, "Who is this dude on campus every day?"
Yeah, like, I don't remember seeing him at, like, I'm assuming teachers have teacher meetings before the school year or whatever.
They have a lounge. They have the teacher's lounge. Yeah.
No one... Like, the sight of him outside the library, just like walking around campus, is what really clued it into me. Like, how does no one fucking notice this guy? Is he invisible or something? Like, what the fuck?
And he's creeping.
Yeah, he's creeping on Cordelia, like, gawking.
This is,
Dude, this episode. kick shit up a notch. But yeah, so Buffy's still paranoid. She's all worried about the horns and the aspect of the demon stuff. And yeah. So she goes out on patrol alone, as she used to do before Faith existed and how Slayers are supposed to.
I don't think they should go on patrol at all.
Yeah. Do you think that they should have like a Slayer signal?
Dude, what are demons doing out in the middle of a playground when no one's out? I just don't get it.
Well, they chased her there, so maybe they were somewhere else and she did the whole... Dude, also that outfit that she was wearing when she was fighting them in the first scene.
It looked like an outfit she had in a different episode.
Yeah, like that baggy tracksuit type of deal.
Yeah.
Like, what the... It's so weird. It looks so big on her.
Yeah.
But not tonight. Tonight, she's wearing like form-fitting camisole. She's got leather jacket on.
Yeah, why does she not go out in like workout clothes? I know for TV,
that's what I'm saying.
It probably just isn't what they want. But I think the stuff that she trains with Giles in, when she's like punching, that's what she should go out in.
Yes, like very...
With a coat because it gets a little chilly at night and sunny.
Yeah, I mean, it is winter time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how could... Like you should have like very free movement clothes. Not this like restrictive high heels and leather pants and leather jacket.
Especially when you're going out to fight demons and vampires.
Yeah. But anyway, she's on patrol and she's still paranoid and she's checking every 5 seconds, like she's checking if she's got horns. She looks at herself in a mirror and she's like, oh, do I still have horns? And she closes the mirror. And this was a fun little scene, like Angel's standing right behind her, but you can't see him in the mirror because he's a vampire. And she closes the mirror and he goes, sorry.
It would be so easy to kill Buffy if she can let people sneak up on her like this.
Yeah. It also, if she sensed someone behind her, she could turn around and just kill that person.
Yeah.
Like, that's risky as fuck for Angel to be doing, dude. Like, you're not the only vampire that could not show up in a mirror behind her.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Cool effect, but yeah.
So she's like, oh, hey, what are you doing here, Angel? And he's like, I'm just here to make sure that you're being safe. And Buffy's like giving him some sass about, being safe and the whole Faith situation. And he's like, what's your deal, dude? Like, and she tells him about the demon aspect that she's been infected with. And he knows all about it already. He's like, yeah, the demon aspect. That's just a rumor. Don't even... Just put that out of your mind. That's not even a real thing. And Buffy's like, well, what if it is? And then she starts to do her whiny, I wish I was at the basketball game shit.
Yeah, this is the point of the episode where I was like, I'm so tired of them talking about the aspect of the demon. Because they've been mentioning it for like scenes. And the episode starts really quick. Like, they get in, she gets blood on her. It's like, oh, you're going to have something. I'm like, let's just jump into it. And now it feels like we're stalling until the reveal.
Well, I was more sick of like I am sad that I can't be a regular teenager conversation again.
We're going to get that every 3 to 5 episodes.
It's such bullshit at this point. Like she's already overcome that like annoyance 1,000 times and like accepted her role as the Slayer like a
she's
bajillion times.
Angel's baby. And she's going to have Angel and Spike's baby and be raising them and still being like, I just can't believe I have to be a Slayer.
It's so annoying, dude. But then she's still worried about the whole thing. She's like, what if I grow out horns? What if I grow a tail? And then Angel gets really creepy with this. And he's like, don't worry, babe. I'd still love you even. You're still my girl. And I'd still love you even if you were covered in slime. And Buffy was like, oh, that's so nice. Except for that last part.
Yeah, I mean.
And also except that you're on a break.
How many times does he have to confess his undying, literally, love for her? For her to get it. Like, what else can he do?
Dude. Teenage shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I feel like I didn't even like that stuff when I was a teenager, though. Like in movies and TV.
Yeah, but
I know
you're
it's not
different.
I know.
I'm
very pragmatic and analytical.
Yeah, I didn't know you as a teenager, but if you were anything like you are now, like you're a very cynical, jaded dude. You're just like, no, fuck off.
I mean, he said I love you like 50 times. She's like, I need 51.
Yeah. 51,000.
Yeah. And this is the second episode where Willow's like, go talk to him.
Yeah, why don't you just go talk to him? Yeah. Oh, man. But, yeah, so that's that scene. Then, next day at school, and boy, oh boy, do we have a Joe's Fashion Corner moment here. Xander Harris with this red and green paisley hideous button down. Just atrocious looking, dude.
What did you think of the yellow sweater, V-neck
dude,
sweater?
He looked like a little fucking Easter baby. Like the yellow sweater in the earlier scenes. Yeah. It looked so stupid. And it was also really tight, and his pants were so baggy.
Yeah.
It just looked weird.
It's the 90s baggy pants look, because Buffy's pants are so baggy at the end of this episode, too.
Yeah, but like...
it was so comfortable back then, man. Khakis, loose khakis.
Dude, I was looking at him in that little like Easter baby outfit, like a little peep.
Yeah.
And I was like, oof, that's a bad outfit. But I wasn't like, it wasn't enough to like be like, oh, he's just wearing like a yellow sweater.
Yeah.
But it looked bad.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't even know what he's going for there. Like, I have no clue what this shirt is. And there's a moment, I think it's later in the episode with Willow. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, even worse.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah.
But Xander in the scene, this button down, it is vomit inducing. It is so gross. But it's Xander, Willow, and Oz, and they're talking about the game. And they're like, oh my God, what an amazing game. I've never seen such an amazing basketball game. Hit a 3-pointer at the last second to win. Holy shit. And then Buffy comes strolling up. And they're like, everybody shut the fuck up. Don't act like it was a good game. Don't act like Buffy missed out. And Buffy comes over and everyone's awkwardly silent. And Buffy catches on immediately.
Well, there's a great line before Buffy shows up from Xander.
Oh, yeah.
He's referring to Oz. He's like, they're like, oh, it's a great game. He's like, it was a great game. I thought you were actually going to make an expression.
Yeah.
And he's
and
like,
Oz was like, I was almost there.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like interesting to try to figure out what Willow and Oz's relationship is.
Yeah. And it's like a fun self-awareness of Oz to be like, yeah, they almost got me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Buffy comes over, everyone's awkwardly silent, and she's like, well, either the game was terrible and you guys didn't feel the need to talk to me about it, or it was amazing and you don't want me to know how amazing it was. And they were like, oh, it was nothing. It was kind of a ho-hum, no big deal game. And as everyone's saying that, Cordelia walks over and she's like, what are you guys even talking about? That was the most amazing basketball game I've ever seen and ever cheered for. And I think it's now like a part of my core memories. Oh my God, I'll never forget that game. And Buffy's like, great.
I do like this area that they hang out in. I think this is my favorite hangout spot for them.
It's cool. The like dual couches facing each other. It's really nice. And Buffy is sad that she can't go. And Cordelia walks away. And Xander looks over at her. And I had to rewind this part because I thought that I missed something. But he thinks, God, I wonder if Cordelia and Wesley have kissed yet. But as I was watching it, I didn't see his mouth move. And I was like, what the fuck kind of ADR bullshit is this? Like, what's going on? But Buffy goes, oh, that's really bugging you, ain't it? And Xander goes, what's bugging me? And Buffy goes, the whole Cordelia and Wesley thing. And then Xander hits the nail on the head here. He goes, wow, it's like you read my mind.
Yeah, because I was like, Buffy wouldn't have been able to put 2 and 2 together immediately.
Yeah.
But he's like, you read my mind. She's like, oh, there it is.
Yep. And she's like, you get a little zoom in on Buffy's face, like, oh shit. This is the fucking craziest.
Yeah. And this is our act break, commercial break. But yeah, it was like they were stalling for this reveal, and it felt like it a little bit. Like they set up some stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just so much talking about this demon thing.
Mm-hmm. So then we come back from commercial break, and Buffy's roaming the hallways, and she can hear everybody's minds. She walks past a teacher, and this teacher's like, this job, he's clerksing real hard. He's like, this job would be fucking great if it wasn't for all these students. We got to get rid of these students. And Buffy's like, geez, that's pretty bullshit. She walks by a girl, and this girl is thinking like, oh my God, I don't know why I took French. Why did I think French would be easy? That was so stupid of me. And she kind of walks off. Then Buffy walks by this dude, and the dude's thinking, wow, Buffy is so beautiful. And then Buffy stops and starts like posing in front of this guy.
Yeah.
She like takes a second. She like brushes her hair out of her face, and she's kind of like, ooh, this guy thinks I'm beautiful. That's nice. And then the next thought in that guy's head is like, man, I would like to just slam her against the locker. And then Buffy's like, oh, Jesus Christ, and starts walking away very quickly.
Yep. The school.
So then Buffy goes to the library, and she tells Giles that she has inherited this pretty dope aspect of the demon. I can read people's minds. It's crazy. And Giles is like, how do you know that you're reading people's minds? It could be just kind of like some kind of intuition.
Yeah, I don't understand why Giles is... I hate when Giles gets like doubtful and starts saying like the opposite things after everything he's been through.
Yeah, I would believe anything if I was Giles at this point.
Yeah, she could be like, I floated on a cloud last night.
Yeah.
And rode a tortoise back down to Earth. And I'd be like, okay. Yeah,
I'd be like, let me research that. Let me research floating tortoises.
Yeah.
But Giles is like, yeah, maybe it's just your intuition. And then we have a little bit of a Giles fashion corner moment here.
Yeah, we do.
Because Buffy's like, I can absolutely read minds, because when I came in here, you thought, look at those shoes that Buffy's wearing. She would wear a cat on her feet if a fashion magazine told her to. And Giles is like, all right, you can read mine.
Joe's Fashion Corner has a lot of competition now.
I know. But Buffy's like, yeah, I can read everyone's minds. Like there's this one teacher he doesn't like the students. And man, all of the boys in this school are disgusting. And I was like, dude, they're teenage boys. They're hormonal motherfuckers.
Yeah, but the school is definitely worse.
That's very true. She does say that they're disturbed.
Yeah.
And Buffy's like, this could be an amazing superpower, Giles. Like, we could use this to our advantage. The world is our oyster. And Giles is like, that's a great idea. We could do this to, like, figure out where demons are, and we can use it for good and use it for our Slayer powers. And Buffy's like, even better. I've got an even better idea. And the next scene is her in class, and she's using mind reading to cheat.
Yeah. I was like, really, Buffy?
Yeah, so she's like giving this teacher all these answers about Othello, and she's reading the mind of this like egghead girl, and Buffy's saying everything that she is about to say and thinking, and then the egghead girl's like, fuck, I was about to say that. Oh, fuck, I was about to say that. It's bullshit. And then Buffy reads Willow's mind, and Willow's like, how is Buffy smart all of a sudden? Did she actually do the reading?
And then Xander's like, did she study? Were we supposed to study?
And then Xander's like, this teacher's kind of hot.
Yeah.
And then it shows the teacher. I was like, man, Xander.
Xander has not learned his lesson. Like, teachers should be definitely off limits for him.
Yeah. And he should up his standards. You know?
Dude, Buffy stealing this girl's answers is so wrong. Like,
yeah.
If they would have spent just like one scene in the beginning of showing this girl be like somewhat mean to Buffy or something, or like even in class, like, why is Buffy doing this to this girl? Like,
because Buffy's also like giving her the stink eye after every answer that she steals from her.
Yeah, like, what is this girl doing? What? Who is this girl to Buffy?
Yeah. So then Buffy is like going around and reading the minds of everyone in class, and she gets to this kind of goth looking dude. He's a little goth. He's got a little tight black long sleeve shirt on, and it looks like he's wearing mascara a little bit.
And he's a witch.
Yeah. So she reads his mind, and his thoughts are like, man, all these people just begging for this stupid teacher's approval. Like, I forget what the actual quote is.
I don't know.
But it's basically like, you're all a bunch of lemmings, you're all a bunch of sheep. And Buffy goes to Willow. She goes like, who's that guy? And Willow looks and she's like, oh, that's Freddie Iverson. That's the guy whose dark and disturbed newspaper articles that I was reading. He's a writer for the school newspaper, and he's got some fucked up shit that he's writing about in the newspaper. And Buffy's like, huh, okay, that's weird. But then also the teacher's talking about...
Well, they cut back to Freddie, and he has a thought. The teacher's talking about something, and then she says a line, and then Freddie's like, oh, I like that word. I'll have to note it down or something. So he's definitely like a writer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But the teacher's... then Buffy starts cheating off of the teacher's thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And she says something, and the teacher's like, oh my God, I said exactly that in my dissertation on this play. And Buffy's like, I know. I mean, it's cool. But this is where Buffy kind of gets a thought in her own head, because they're talking about Othello and about how he was never really sure if...
It's so on the nose.
If like his lover was cheating on him, and there's no way that he could know. And Buffy's like,
It's like the subtlety in this episode is just not there.
Yeah.
It's like you read my thoughts. Yeah. Like you read my mind, Buffy.
So Buffy is like...
You never know what Iago was up to.
She's connecting the dots to, I'm going to use my mind-reading powers on Angel to see if he really enjoyed smooching on Faith. So the next scene is Buffy goes over to Angel's mansion to read his mind, and she's like, hey, what's up? And it's daytime, and she just bursts open, and Angel's like, whoa, dude, whoa. And Buffy's like, oops, sorry, daytime, sorry.
Did she knock and he went to the door? Like, it looks like he's just waking up.
Yeah, I think that he was just roaming his mansion like a caged tiger, and Buffy just decides to just burst in and you like open those flaps, those what is it? Darkening blinds that he has. And he almost runs directly into sunlight. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Yeah. But he's like, oops, sorry. I came over after school. I wanted to see you, and I forgot that it's daytime. And that's your weakness, because I'm really wrapped up in my evil plan right now.
Yeah.
So she goes over and she's like, I just wanted to talk and wanted to see how you're feeling about this whole Faith situation. And she's like, yeah, how do you feel about Faith? And I wonder everything. I went on patrol and I'm worried about Faith, and because Faith and Faith and it's different out now because I got Faith to worry about. And Faith, what do you think about Faith? And she like leans in a little bit to like,
you know what it looks like? It looks like that meme where there's the guy explaining something to the girl, or the girl explaining something to the guy. Like
to me, it kind of looks like the Leonardo DiCaprio Inception, like squinty, like
and he's just like got nothing. Like I love that it was like, I don't think he has thoughts.
Yeah, he's just like staring straight ahead. He's not even looking at Buffy.
Yeah.
He's just sitting down, staring straight ahead. And Buffy's trying so hard to like get him to have a thought.
He's so good at brooding. He's so good at it.
And Buffy can't hear any of his thoughts. And she keeps mentioning Faith and Faith and Faith. And then she does the squint in. Mm-hmm. And the Angel just looks over at her and goes, you can't get into my mind. And Buffy's like, what? What do you mean? He's like, the aspect of the demon. You can read minds. I understand now. Like, I get it. You can't get into my mind because it's kind of like the mirror. And he gives some kind of bullshit explanation about why.
Yeah, no reflection in the mirror and no reflection in the mind, whatever. They don't even need this excuse. It's fine. I was like, you just can't read vampires' minds. That's fine. Whatever you say. At least they say something. At least they say something, you know?
The way that they explained it away, I was like, that sounds like kind of bullshit, but whatever.
The whole thing's bullshit. All of it's bullshit.
So Buffy's like, oh, so you figured out I was trying to read your mind and see if you actually liked kissing Faith. And Angel is just like, hey, stupid. Why didn't you just ask me? Why don't you just talk to me? And Buffy's like, because that would make too much sense. Nice little aware moment. And Angel's like, look, I've done the whole bad girl thing. That was just an act. I was just doing it. I'm sorry if it hurt you, but I've done this whole bad girl thing. I don't want a girl like Faith. I want a girl like you. Trust me. I've been down that road before. Dozens of times. Yeah, probably more. And Buffy's like, great. Loving this whole telling the truth thing.
It's like, I'm 240 years old, lady.
He says at a specific age, 243. Mm-hmm. 243 years old, and in all of my years of my life, I've only loved one woman. And
Darla.
And Buffy's like, I hope it's me. And Angel's like, yeah, fucking goddamn it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, what else?
It's so annoying. And then Angel's like, well, let me tell you something. Once you get a gift like this, you need to be really careful with it because it could come back to haunt you. And Buffy's like, kind of like immortality. And he's like, yeah, I wish I could die.
Well, he's like, I'm dying to get rid of this.
Yeah.
And then she's like, ha ha. And he says, I'm a funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
He said it's just so straight.
So then it's the next day at school, or it's not the next day at school because Xander's still wearing that hideous outfit.
No, she just jogged from school. She took a class, jogged all the way up to this whatever castle that's nowhere near the school, and then just jogged back down to school because she doesn't have a car.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's how she gets around, I guess.
So they're back in the library, and the whole gang is there, and Buffy has revealed to everyone at this point that she can read minds. And Xander goes, oh my God, you can read our minds, our every impulse, our fantasy? And Buffy goes, yep. And then you just hear Xander's thought, and he goes, oh God. Which I loved. Then Buffy starts reading everyone's mind around the room. Mm-hmm. And I loved when she gets to Oz.
Yes. Oz and Cordelia, for me, win it. Yeah.
So Cordelia's thoughts are just like, I don't know how this applies to me. And then she immediately says, I don't know how this applies to me.
Yeah, she says exactly what she thinks. Yeah. And it's so perfect. There's no filter at all.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then Buffy looks over at Oz, and Oz is like, so wait, if Buffy can read my thoughts, then Buffy knows everything I know. And Buffy is everything that I am, and thus erases who I am. And Buffy kind of like raises her eyebrows. She's like, Jesus Christ. Oz is getting real metaphysical about this. And she looks over at Willow, and Willow's like, this is so awesome. This is going to be so great. And Willow's thoughts are like, but if Buffy knows all things that everyone's reading, everyone's thinking, then she doesn't have a use for me, and Buffy's never going to hang out with me again. And Buffy's like, Willow, don't think that. And Willow's like, I'm sorry, I can't. And then Xander, she looks back over at Xander, and Xander can't stop thinking about sex. And he's like, oh my God, Buffy can read all of my minds. Don't think about sex. Don't think about sex. Baseball, basketball. That basketball game was cool.
He does some math, like 5 times 6 is 32.
Yeah. He's like, nice. Good job. Good job. Anyway, don't think about sex. Sex. Oh, Buffy. Oh, naked Buffy. And Buffy's like, Xander, is that all you think about? And Xander goes, well, actually. And he just gets up and runs out of the room.
Yeah.
Which was odd. Because it's also like, dude, he's a fucking high school boy, you know?
Yeah, I do think that it's overplayed that the guys think about sex every 5 seconds thing.
Yeah, isn't that stat about like guys think about sex every 7 seconds? I'm just
Nothing
like,
would get done in the world.
No, absolutely not. Dude, it's such bullshit. It's more like 12 seconds.
Yeah. Just start timing it with this podcast. You can be like, okay, 12 seconds.
Give us a good 5-second buffer on that 7 seconds. But yeah, Xander runs out of the room. And as he does that, Wesley's like, I think Xander just illustrated a very important point of this superpower that you now have, Buffy, is that not everyone is going to want you to read their minds. And we need to figure out a way to like protect our thoughts from you reading our minds. And Giles is like, yes, this is going to take very intense mental fortitude and discipline. And then Buffy starts reading Wesley's mind, which is incredibly unfortunate.
Wesley needs to go.
Yeah. Because Wesley is looking over at Cordelia and his thoughts are, my God, Cordelia is so beautiful. Oh my God, I can't stop looking at her. Jesus. Get it together, Wesley, get it together. And then he looks down and he looks back up and Buffy has leaned in and is staring at him with her eyebrows raised like, so this is what you think about, huh, buddy? Mm-hmm. And then Wesley's like, oh shit. And he's like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go into Giles's office. Yeah. And he scurries over there. And he
has been in a couple scenes with Willow, but he hasn't really ever interacted with her besides when she was evil Willow and he held up the cross in water. Mm-hmm. I don't think they've ever exchanged any lines.
So then Willow Buffy looks over at Oz and Oz is getting even more metaphysical and he's just like, Jesus Christ, if I don't exist, if she can read all of my thoughts, like if I don't exist, like what am I? If she can read she is everyone. She can read everyone's mind, so she is everyone, so she is the world. No one exists. What are we? And then Buffy is looking over like, oh my God, Oz is freaking the fuck out right now. Then she looks over at Willow and Willow's thoughts are, Buffy can read Oz's mind. Buffy knows Oz better than I ever will. How am I going to be able to like please Oz if Buffy knows Oz better than I would? And then Buffy just goes, Willow, stop thinking like that. And Willow's like, I'm sorry, Buffy, I can't. You tell me like what not to think, and it just makes me want to think about it more. And I'm sorry, but I can't really be around you right now. And then so she gets up and leaves. And then Oz is like, I'm with the redhead. And he gets up and leaves. And then and then Buffy's like, well, great. No one wants to hang out with me now because I can read all their thoughts. This sucks. And she gets real mopey about it.
Yeah, and then Wesley comes out. He's can you hear my thoughts in this room?
Yeah.
She's like,
God damn it.
She's like, I'm going to leave. And Giles is holding books like, oh, Buffy.
So Buffy leaves.
The thing about the insecurity of Willow, of the fact that it's not like if Buffy knew more about she should think of it like, oh, if she finds out about Oz, she could just tell Willow. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the only way anyone's going to ever know what Oz was thinking. Because Oz is a closed book.
Well, I love that, like, this just delves further into, like, the deep thinking mind of Oz, because Oz is a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
He's a certified weirdo. Yeah. But a fun, like you said, a fun weirdo.
Yeah, and it's just like, you could finally figure out what the hell Oz is thinking with Buffy. Not like, oh no, she'll be closer to Oz. She won't like Oz after hearing this.
It's kind of like that meme, where it's like the guy and the girl in bed, and the girl looks distraught, and she's like, he's probably thinking about other women. Yeah. And it shows the man's thoughts, and he's just like, if she's everything, if she can read my thoughts, she is everyone. Oh, man. So then Buffy leaves the library. She excuses herself and she starts to walk down the school hallway. And this is like a very cool and important scene for this episode and also for life, everybody. Life lesson here. As she's walking down the hallway, she's reading everyone's mind. And everyone has all of these crazy insecurities and they're all like, man, what if my boobs aren't big enough? What if I'm not tall enough? Oh man, I hope my hair looks terrible today. I feel awful. I feel disgusting. I feel fat. Do I look fat in this? Blah, blah, blah. Like all these insecurities, all this, like, oh, I'm failing classes, and just everybody's walking around with their own worries, with their own stresses. And Buffy starts to look around. She's like, man, this sucks. Like, I didn't realize how much pain everybody is going through all the time. This is wild. And
Buffy's
then,
like, I have it the worst, though.
Yeah. So then we go back to the library, and Giles and Wesley have found the last person who has been infected with the aspect of the demon. They found a little bit of research in the Watcher journals. And Wesley's like, well, what does it say about this guy? And Giles is like, this guy went into isolation because he couldn't stand hearing everyone's thoughts all the time because it just drove him insane. So he went into isolation. And they're like, oh, God, Buffy is going to go crazy. And then so Buffy's in line in the cafeteria. She bumps into Jonathan, our boy Jonathan, who is an Emmy winner, right? He directed something?
He was nominated this year. He won an Emmy a while ago for something else.
Learned that through our Discord?
Well, I think he was directing episodes of Dope Sick. I think.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
But I think he won for some other show years ago.
Good job. What a career this guy's had. I had no idea. I still don't really know who he is. But like, he's one of those behind the scenes dudes that's just like been in Hollywood for forever and you don't even know anything about him. Mm-hmm. That's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
So Buffy bumps into him in the lunch line and he's like, oh my God, she bumped into me. She notices me. This is weird. She's like, oops, sorry. And he's like, oh my God, she talked to me. This is crazy. Somebody noticed me. All right, well, whatever.
She's talked to him before.
Yeah, everyone has like had interactions with this guy before.
She saved his life. She saved his life from the gun shooting, right?
Yeah, I mean, she was about to get, or Cordelia was about to get hooked up with him, and
yeah, he blackmailed her for more money for the cupcakes during the prom queen thing.
Oh yeah, true. He extorted her.
Yeah, he did some extortion. He was eating her snacks at her welcome back party.
But yeah, so Buffy's looking around and she's hearing all of these thoughts at once, and she starts to go a little bit crazy. She's looking around, she can hear all of these thoughts at once, and this reminded me of a Cracked article I read a couple years ago about why exactly you wouldn't want this superpower at all. Because there's no way that you
ever want this superpower.
Dude, this is more of a curse than anything.
Absolutely.
But it's basically like it's one of those articles like all the superpowers you wouldn't want. Like if you had super speed, like your clothes would rip off and your skin would rip off and all this stuff, and the friction would cause a fire. And if you've learned how to fly, like you don't have like an internal GPS, so you wouldn't have any idea where you're going. And the passage that they had about mind reading is exactly what Buffy's going through right now. You wouldn't know how to turn it off unless you like actually mentally focused or something, and it would drive you insane. And Buffy's going crazy in the cafeteria. She's holding her head. She can't stop everyone else's thoughts except for she hones in really hard on one thought that she can hear very loudly and clearly. And the thought is, by this time tomorrow, I'm going to kill everyone here or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have the exact
I'm going
quote?
to kill you all or something. I don't have the exact quote. I do have a moment, I think before she finally hears this, she drops her tray.
I think that's after that.
Is that after that? But
yeah.
She drops her tray of food in the middle of the cafeteria. And the students just clap?
Yeah, everyone starts clapping.
What is that?
I have no idea. Well, I guess it's like, you know, when you're in a restaurant and you hear a glass break, like a waiter drops a glass, people do clap.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I've had that happen quite a few times.
Oh.
Well, I haven't. Thankfully, in my time as a waiter, I never dropped and broke a glass that I can remember. But I've been around people that have, and like people do clap.
So it's one of those like, oh, you dummy, you did that. Right.
Yeah, or it's like a Mazel Tov type of deal, I guess. Like, you know, isn't it a Jewish weddings where they like stomp on a plate or something?
They stomp on like glass.
Glass
under a sheet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just like, that's weird. And then they just go back. And then they just go back, and no one like pays any more attention to her after that. And then she starts going crazy
Yeah, she starts going crazy, like running up to people and like trying to focus in on their thoughts, but she can't because she doesn't know how to control her new power.
Well, it seems to work when she runs up and then grabs a person, and she can hear their one thought. She's not getting any real information out of it.
Everyone's thought should be, why is this girl grabbing me?
What a mess. Who is this girl? Why is she? We all know who she is, but we still have to ask, who is she?
Yeah. So after a couple of seconds of going crazy and trying to figure out who said by this time tomorrow, I'm going to kill everybody, she passes out on the ground. Mm-hmm. And the next thing we know is Buffy waking up outside, and the Scooby gang is huddled around her, and Buffy can hear their thoughts before she opens her eyes.
My question was, how did they get her outside?
Mm-hmm.
Like Cordelia says one of the smartest things. She was like, I told them not to move you. They probably severed your spinal cord, like moving you, not to move someone that's like passed out like that.
Yeah.
Does the librarian come in and say, oh no, I got this?
Yeah.
A girl just
is there no school nurse?
Not anymore. Not after the fish episode.
Oh, you're right.
But it probably should be. Since
there's no replacement.
Since the newspaper has its own obit section.
Fair.
It should be Buffy, EMTs on site.
So Buffy wakes up and she starts hearing their thoughts, and everyone's like, oh, thank God she's waking up. Oh, cool, she's waking up. And Buffy wakes up and she's like, guys, I have something important to tell you. When I was in the cafeteria, I heard someone think that they're going to kill people tomorrow in school. That's worrying. We need to figure out who thought that. And Buffy gets up and she starts to walk towards the school again. She starts to hear everyone's thoughts and she gets a headache. And she's like, oh, fuck. Oh, God, this sucks. And then Giles grabs her and is like, dude, you shouldn't go back in there. Like, you got to figure some shit out. We need to figure some shit out. We don't want you to, like, hurt yourself going in there trying to figure it out. But Buffy's like, but we got to stop whoever's going to, like, kill the people. And then Willow's like, we'll take care of that. Buffy's like, okay, make a list of everyone who's in the cafeteria. And Willow's like, got it. And I'll do some like profiling or whatever.
Well, first,
do you think like nobody got out of the cafeteria since you passed out?
Well, first Xander makes who hasn't thought of coming into the school with a semi-automatic and just doing something?
Oh, yeah.
And
Xander's like, who hasn't thought about that? And everybody looks at him like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah. And I was like, it's going to be interesting to see Joe try to stand up for his boy Xander after that line.
I mean, I make jokes like that all the time. Yeah. Mostly like more.
Xander is the type of person that might do that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like.
I make more jokes about like, I'm going to go jump off a bridge. Like, I always make jokes like that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I am with Xander on not like shooting up a place. But I have like idle thoughts about like, what if I just fucking, and Bill Burr has a joke about this. Yeah. Like, it's like a minor inconvenience can force you to like, Bill Burr's joke is like, he said he was going to make a pie for Thanksgiving. And he's like, and that just thinking about making that pie, it just bothered me so much that I was like, you know what? I'll just might kill myself. And then I wouldn't have to make that pie.
I think a more apt Bill Burr would be the one where he's talking about driving. And then he's just like, if I shift my hand a little bit to the right, and he can hit a curb full of people, and he's like, oh my God, this man just lost his mind. He didn't even try to hit the brakes. And he's like, other way, just he drove home safe and sound. Yeah. Like that.
That's weird, Bill. He brought the potato salad to the picnic. Yeah. One of the worst horrific scenes we've ever seen. Like, no even evidence he tried to slow down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Bill. We'll set you up with our friend. Yeah. But yeah, like. I'm with Xander that people do have thoughts like that.
Yeah.
And like everybody looked at him like he's crazy.
The problem was that it wasn't that like everyone has thoughts. Like it was like Xander. They were like, oh, Xander has those thoughts. Xander said that him saying that meant like he had those thoughts.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh boy. And what else? Oh, and then they do this thing where Willow goes, okay, I'll go in and I'll interview every student. And I was just like, oh, we know it's not a student, right? And I was like, oh, are they not going to remember that teacher that she bumped into at first? And before it ends, Buffy goes, oh, and check out Mr. Beach. He mentioned something about students. I was like, oh, great. Yeah. She actually remembered that. Cool.
Now, I want to make this distinction, or this thought, my perception of what happened right now. When Buffy heard the voice of, by this time tomorrow, I'm going to kill everybody in here. Mm-hmm. When I heard that, it sounded like a man's voice.
Yes.
Was it a man's voice to you?
Yes.
Okay.
They're doing a lot of misleads.
Okay.
And they ask in this scene, oh, could you tell if it was a man or woman? She's like, oh, the voices kind of got mixed up.
Yeah. When that happens, when they're like, could you tell it was a man or a woman? Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't know. I was like, I know. It was a man's voice.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, they kind of play a little loose with the info they give you.
Yeah. So Giles is like, all right, well, we're going to take you home, Buffy. You need to rest up. This is weird, what you're going through. We're going to make sure that we're going to research and see if we can cure you of this. And Buffy's like, Giles, do you think I'm going to be okay? And Giles is like, I think that we need to do a research and we'll figure a way to figure this out. And as he's walking away, he goes, because if we don't think, in his mind, mm-hmm. he's thinking, because if we don't figure a way to cure Buffy of this, she's going to go insane. And Buffy's like, fuck. But also, how does Giles have the allowance to drive Buffy home out of school?
There's no rules at the school. There's a dude just lurking around in the library.
Yeah.
So
then we go back to the library, and the gang has made a list of everyone that was in the lunchroom. Don't know how they did that, but Willow's like, all right, everybody, you have your assignments. You need to go and interview these people based on the criteria and the questions that I have laid out for you. And this is what the FBI uses and their questions to try and profile who could be a potential killer. And everyone's like, okay. So Xander has some questions and he's got a list of people to ask. Oz has some people and Cordelia has some people. So then they have a discussion as well about how often school shootings happen. Like this is where Oz makes the comment about like, man, it's crazy that someone's thinking about shooting up the school or like killing everybody in school. It's crazy how often that happens these days. And then after figuring out the Columbine happened after this episode, I was like, I wonder how common it was before Columbine, you know? But then they all disperse and they're all like, all right, we have our targets. We are going to go interview these people and figure out who thought that they were going to kill everybody. So then the next scene is Buffy in bed. And boy, oh boy, what happens next is amazing. So Buffy's in her little cow print pajamas and her mom is walking in and out of the room. She's like, you need another pillow? You need another blanket? You need another pillow? I just want to take care of you. You want some chicken and star soup? You want some chicken and star soup? And then Buffy's like, Mom, calm down. Like you're being a real busybody and being really worrisome. Like, why don't you just come and hang out with me? I really need someone to sit here with me. And I really would love it if you would just sit here. And Buffy's mom is like, I know that that's what you need, Buffy, but I don't want to be here around you while you can read minds, basically. And as she's
I don't know why she keeps coming in. I'd be like, all right, you're good. I'm bouncing.
Yeah. So the mom's walking away, and then Buffy sits up in a really violent fashion, and Buffy goes, Mom, you had sex with Giles? And Joyce turns around. She's like, and she goes, on top of a cop car? And Buffy goes, and Joyce is like, I mean, and Buffy goes, twice? And then Buffy's mom just goes, Buffy, we're on the candy, okay?
We're teenagers, we're on candy.
And then she storms out. And Buffy's like, oh, God.
It's just one of those classic Buffy the Vampire Slayer okay, here's a random twist in the episode that you don't.
Yeah, a little payoff from like way.
But it's like,
earlier.
I didn't realize that Faith was going to sleep with Xander that episode that it happened. I didn't realize this was going to be, the Giles Joyce reveal. Like,
So we obviously saw them like making out and all this stuff. I wasn't convinced that they actually had sex, but now it's confirmed.
oh, really?
I wasn't convinced. I thought they were just like making out and maybe some hand stuff.
I thought they had sex even at his place before she showed up there that day.
Maybe like a OTP CG, you know?
Ripper don't mess around, man.
Yeah. But now Buffy knows that Giles and Joyce have fornicated.
This
And she is
changes
not happy about this.
nothing.
Nope. So Willow has narrowed down the list, and she gives everybody their assignments, and Cordelia makes some kind of talk about how she wants to basically bang Wesley, and she's like, I want to be in Wesley's group, and Willow's like, there is no Wesley's group, all right? This is who you're interviewing. Willow like snaps at everybody.
Yeah,
She's
Willow's
like, this is what
really,
we're doing.
like losing it in this situation.
Yeah. So I think this is where the outfit happens with Willow.
She's worn this outfit before.
She has?
Yes, she has. You could
Willow?
probably find it on our Instagram as one of Joe's fashion corners
Willow's wearing
with this shirt. Yeah, she's worn this before.
a yellow bucket hat. Is this that outfit?
Oh, maybe is it the shirt with the cat on
Oh,
it?
no. This is the sparkly. She's still in the sparkly. Is it a cat or a whale?
Yeah, it's some type of like caricature or something. She's worn that shirt before.
And she's got these fucking awful jeans with these flower patterns on them too. Terrible. But she is interviewing Jonathan. And she is doing this like really over the top, like Law and Order. We got the lights off and the light bulb is shining in Jonathan's face type of questions.
We've seen this before too.
Yeah.
She did this during the swim episode also.
Yeah.
With Jonathan, which was like, I was like, I know I've seen this somewhere before. And she starts it out with like, fantasies are fun. And she's like leaning over the back of him and it's like, what? Because last time she only found out he peed in the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, does it ever make you feel like you want to act on these fantasies? And, you know, people don't think of us as like powerful, but once you act on these fantasies, people will take notice and then you'll feel powerful, huh? And Jonathan's looking at her like, what are you getting at, dude? Like, I don't understand what this is all about. And he's like really no-selling her. He's just like, I mean, sure. Wouldn't everybody feel that way?
Yeah.
And so she's really getting nothing out of Jonathan. And Oz is interviewing a basketball player. And the basketball player
Hogan.
Oh, he's interviewing Hogan. And Hogan's like, all right, so you're doing a personality test? And Oz is like, yeah, we're doing a personality test for the yearbook. It's really not a big deal. Just answer these questions. And I forget what Oz's question is, but it's something like, do you ever have like crazy thoughts that you want to act on and be like powerful or something? And Hogan's like, I mean, yeah, sure. Or he gives some kind of diplomatic answer. He's like, did I get that right? I want this to look good in the yearbook.
Yeah, it was something. It wasn't about like weird thoughts. It was like competitive nature or like perfectionism, and like saying like, "I want to get this right." I was like, "Okay, yeah, like you are that." Like he's like, "Is that a right answer? I want to get this right. I don't want to do bad on this."
Yeah.
Like so, I don't know. I don't know what answer would make him more likely to be a killer, but yeah.
Yeah. So Cordelia goes into that teacher's room, Mr. Beach, that was thinking of like, oh, this place would be great if it wasn't for all the students. She walks in there and she goes, hey, Mr. Beach, you ever think about killing a bunch of students? Oh, this is for the yearbook, by the way.
I love she just came and straight up asked him.
Yeah.
Are you planning to kill all the students tomorrow?
Then we have Xander interviewing a group of girls. And he's like, what's your ideal first date? and what's your type and all this stuff. He's shamelessly just not sticking to the script, I guess.
I mean, that's Xander's saving grace this episode.
Yeah. So then Oz goes to interview the newspaper guy, Freddie Iverson. And he goes in there and he's like, Freddie, you in here? And he's looking around and he's like, well, Freddie's not here. And then he leaves, and then the camera pans down to below the desk where Freddie is hiding under the desk. And then so you're like, oh, shit.
My thought was, why is he hiding from these people?
Right?
What does he think they're going to ask him?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was my real-time thought.
But it's supposed to make you believe, like, oh, this disturbed newspaper writer, goth-looking guy.
He's in all black. He's in all black.
Obviously evil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we haven't seen him smoke a cigarette, so...
True.
So then we go to Buffy's house, and it's nighttime, and Buffy's at her window, and she's just looking out. She's hearing all the thoughts of the people that are in her neighborhood. She's hearing some guy like, is it really worth it to keep working this job? She overhears some lady like, what's one more drink? I'll just have another drink. It's not that big of a deal. And then Buffy slams the window shut. And she's like, God, I can't take this anymore. Gets into bed. And she can still hear everyone's thoughts. Slamming the window did nothing. And she is having a hard time going to sleep just because she has all of these thoughts going through her head, and she hates it.
And the range has gotten a lot better, too. I guess.
Right? I guess the longer that she has it, the more intense it is.
So these demons would not be able to function.
No.
If this is how the demons communicate. Maybe they.
Unless they have honed the skill of mind reading to like just you look at that person
and say it. Yeah,
but Buffy doesn't have that mental training yet.
Yeah.
So then we go to the library, and Giles and Wesley, they're trying to figure out this like potion or spell or something to figure out how to cure Buffy, and they think they've got it. They have no idea if this has ever worked because no one's ever come back from this.
It always works. I mean, it always works. It's something you just have to accept with the show. Like they gotta wrap up the story, and somehow they didn't know what this thing was or what would happen, and then they figured out, oh, we just need to whip up this in the library.
Yeah.
with ingredients in the library. I know, we need the heart of the other demon, of course.
Yeah.
Because we know that demon's anatomy.
Yeah, Wesley is like, you think this will work? And Giles is like, I mean, it might. We have no idea. And we don't even have all the ingredients. We need the heart of the other demon. And who the fuck knows where that is?
Buffy let it run away.
Yeah. And Wesley is like, well, I don't know how we're going to figure that out. And then he walks away. And then Giles calls him a Burke, which I had never heard before.
Wait, is that what happens? Because I wasn't sure what happened. He was like, who's going to get it? And then he goes, right? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Wes is like, well, who can we get to get this heart of the demon? And he walks away, and Giles is like, you're such a Burke. And I looked up what Burke means, and it is, this is according to Wiktionary. This is a quote. A Burke is British slang, and it is a synonym for cunt, stupid person, and fool, twat, twit.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Wesley is all of those things.
Gotta love that PG getting around calling Wesley a cunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're like, who are we going to get this demon heart? Cut to Angel beating the shit out of this demon in the playground.
Real easy to find, I guess.
Yeah. So Angel's beating him up, and then the demon gets away.
Same shot. I swear that is the same shot of it running away, just like zoomed in a little bit that we had from Buffy.
So Buffy wakes up, and she is feeling disturbed. She is like, fuck, this is awful. And Joyce is there, and Joyce is really worried about her. She's like really concerned about what's going on with her. So we go back to school, and the student interviews continue. Xander's interviewing Larry, and he's like, Larry, I bet you got a lot of pent up frustration. You got a lot of woe, a lot of inner turmoil because of your whole, gay situation. And I know that it might be a secret or whatever, but, if you got to talk about it. And then Larry goes, what do you mean, what kind of secret? I'm gay, says it super loud. He goes, I'm out, Xander. I'm out of the closet, and I feel freer and better than ever before. It's awesome.
Yeah, no one around him even reacts. Like,
yeah.
He's like, what, about being gay?
Yeah.
He's like, no one cares.
And then Xander's like, oh, well, all right. Never mind, I guess. And then Larry goes back to the whole, like, but Xander, I can tell it's really bothering you, the whole gay thing. And then Xander's like, dude, I'm not fucking gay, all right?
It's weird that he doesn't get defensive. He just doesn't, like, I don't know what, Xander's, like, confused more than he is, like, defensive.
Yeah.
Which is not what we would have seen. Like, not when, like, the cops are talking about wrestling. He's like, oh, no homo, like, no gay stuff. Like, here he's just like, I think he's, like, so shocked that someone could be openly gay in school.
Yeah. But, like, good for Larry.
Yeah.
But then Larry's like, but it seems like you really need to come out of the closet, Xander. And I know a guy that can really help with that. Freddie Iverson, the newspaper guy, he could write up a really nice coming out of the closet thing for you and put it in the newspaper. And then this is where Xander's like, Freddie Iverson? Huh. Yeah. And then he goes back to the gang and they're all like, yeah, Freddie Iverson's the only guy that we couldn't find to interview. So now we all kind of suspect that it's this guy, Freddie Iverson, because he wears black. And he's got
How did they know everybody that was in the cafeteria?
That's what I said earlier, dude.
I know. It's just like, how did they know Freddie Iverson was in there?
Well, how did they, like, nobody came in or out? Like, how long was Buffy passed out for? Like, I just don't get it.
And my thing is, I'm thinking they have to take the test on themselves as a control measure. And I don't think Xander or Oz would pass that test.
Yeah, absolutely. Oz might, but Xander probably wouldn't.
No,
Xander would be too paranoid about the test.
Oz would answer questions weirdly.
Very right. Yeah, true. But they all bust into the newspaper place and Freddie's not there. Oh, wait, no, this is later. Because now they're just talking about interviewing Freddie, right? No, or do they go to the newspaper place? No, they go to Freddie later. Okay.
So they go to Freddie's. They go to Freddie's room, and then he's like outside of it, and he's hiding out or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's standing outside. Like they go in, and he's like out around the corner.
Oh, yeah, because it's locked, right? They're like jiggling the handle.
Yeah, he's like looking over his shoulder, like, oh my god, they're on to me. The Scooby Gang is on to me.
Yeah. So then Wesley, Giles, and Joyce are at Buffy's house, and they're all watching over Buffy's sleep, and they're like, "Man, we're surprised that she can even get to sleep." I don't think Wesley's there. He's not there yet. Well, no, he is there.
I thought it was Giles and Joyce in the hallway, and she's like, "Oh, can she read our minds?" She's like, "No, she's too far."
Wesley's definitely. I definitely have Wesley written that he's there, but it doesn't really matter. But they hear like really loud banging on the door, and then they all go downstairs, and they open the door, and Angel comes in with a sheet over his head like a ghost to avoid the sunlight.
It's smoke coming off of it.
Smoke coming out of it. Great effect. Mm-hmm. Takes the sheet off, and he's got this glowing potion in a little beaker or something. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I got it. And they're like, fuck yeah, dude, this is awesome. You're such a MVP, Angel. You're the shit.
Crazy that he got it off screen. Mm-hmm. Why didn't we just show him defeat the demon and not have the demon run away?
I guess to add a little bit of drama or something.
But we know she's gonna get better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Angel rushes up the stairs to give Buffy the potion. He sits with her. He force feeds it to her, and she's like, no. And he's like, just shut up and drink it.
Oh, so funny.
Little like slimy shit floating in it at the top too.
And she takes like the smallest of sips.
Yeah.
Also, he's sitting directly in sunlight during this whole scene. Like,
or or the remaster.
There are no lights on in that room, and he's got a bunch of light coming off from that window.
Yeah. Well, this is, I think, the first time that I haven't brought up issue with this, and you did. Yeah. So I guess that means it's legit.
Well, they showed him run in from daylight and then go into her bedroom, which is fully daylit.
Yeah. So she drinks it, and then she calms down for a second, and then she just starts like violently shaking, and she's like, nah, wow. And then Angel turns, she's like, Giles, Giles. And then we cut away. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh shit, what's going on with Buffy? So then we have the big reveal. We have a big reveal. Mm-hmm. And it is someone up in the school's like bell tower.
The school has a bell tower.
They are unpacking a gun. They have it in a nice little case, and they're opening it up. And we pan up to reveal it is Jonathan. Jonathan's got this gigantic sniper rifle, and he's posted up in the bell tower, and he's going to start assembling this gun. And you're like, oh shit.
My first thought when I saw this was, Jonathan, you can't kill everybody with this gun.
No. Yeah, that's a one-shot reload.
I was like, this is
like heavy reload situation.
I was like, this isn't a... What we find out later is also dumb, but
yeah.
It's not a... I was like, okay, this isn't like... This doesn't sound like what she overheard.
Also, Jonathan is like drenched in sweat.
He's so sweaty.
Like it's like they dumped a bucket of water on him to do this scene. So then we go back to Buffy's house, and Angel's sitting next to her bed, and he's like, it looks like he's like praying. He's got his head slumped over, and Buffy wakes up, and he's like, do you hear it? Can you hear any thoughts? Do you hear anything? And Buffy's like, no, I've been cured. And we're like, woo, yay, Buffy. So then the gang finally, the Scooby gang, they finally catch up to Freddy.
In his office.
Yeah.
He just went back to his office?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
And they bust in there, and they're like, all right, Freddy, you got some splaining to do, buddy. We interviewed everybody. You were in the lunchroom. We think that you're about to get ready to kill all these people in school. And how could you? I should have known it from the start. You're the dark and brooding, apathetic, all black wearing kid. And Freddy's like, whoa, what? Shoot a bunch of people. Kill people. What are you talking about? I thought that you guys were coming in here to bully me because I gave The Dingoes Ate My Baby a bad review. And then Oz is like, what? And he picks up the newspaper and he reads Freddy's review of Dingoes Ate My Baby, which is... They played like they had plump Polish sausages taped to their fingers. And Oz goes... and Freddy goes, sorry about that. And Oz goes, no, that's pretty fair.
I don't understand how this band is booking shows at the Bronze that has like real musical acts.
But we've also seen them play, and they're not bad. They're good.
But they always make fun of them being bad and not knowing how to play music.
Well, Oz
does. And like even like when he was with his, the lead singers, like, yeah, most bands know more than 3 chords.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a weird vibe. Like, how did I learn how to play? Is it hard to learn how to play guitar like you do? Not the way I do it.
Not the way I do it.
Like,
yeah.
They're floating in that weird thing where they're good and don't believe they're good, or but then they also aren't good because this review is saying.
Well, I mean, it feels like this guy would have given anything a bad review. Like, I don't think that he's given anything a good review except for maybe like something ironically.
But Oz is also like, yeah, this is kind of true.
Freddy's a real Vance.
Genius. Freddie Iverson is a genius.
So after they're like, oh, okay, so it wasn't you. We don't need to worry about you, Freddy. You just were worried about getting bullied about the Dingoes review. And then Xander looks over at him and goes, oh, also if Larry comes over with some kind of coming out special thing, don't worry about that. That's not true. And everyone's like, what? What are you talking? And then Buffy busts in.
Wait, what?
Doesn't Buffy bust into the office at this point?
No.
Yeah, she does. Buffy shows up, and she's like, guys, I'm cured. I can't read people's minds anymore. And they're like, that's great. We still don't know who the killer is and time is running out. Time is of the essence. And then Cordelia sits down and she reads like a fan mail thing. Not a fan mail, but like a letter to the editor. And Freddie's like, yeah, I get a bunch of these. And the thing that Cordelia starts reading is about, it's like a suicide or like a manifesto, like a killer's manifesto or something. And then she's like, man, doesn't anybody want to review the cheerleaders? And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she read it out loud and did not see anything except for herself in it.
Yeah, it's like a death note. Like, oh, you're all going to remember me after all the stuff that I do and all that kind of shit. And we're like, oh my God. And it's signed Jonathan.
I guess it's signed Jonathan because Willow looks at it.
Yeah, and she goes, it's Jonathan. Oh, that guy, he's so slippery. He just escaped my grasp.
Yeah.
So then we go back to Jonathan assembling the gun. And now the gang is all running around trying to find him. Willow goes into the library. She's like, Jonathan? Somebody goes into a classroom. It's like, Jonathan? Xander goes into the cafeteria and goes, Jonathan, where are you? And he doesn't see him. And he goes and he looks to his left and he goes, ooh, jello. Gets distracted by fucking jello.
Which is crazy because they panned across like cake before too. And I mean,
I understand why this happens.
Yes.
For the payoff at the end. But I was like, you're looking for a mass murderer and you're like, ooh, jello. And then you just go off and follow fucking jello? Are you kidding me, dude?
Also, I feel like that school has jello every day at lunch.
Yeah.
And also it's jello. It's
dude,
not
jello is so overrated, dude.
It's not like this thing that's rare. Jello is not rare. Those jello cups existed then.
But yeah, Xander goes and he follows his nose to the jello, and then Buffy's outside on the quad. She's looking around. And then she looks over, she looks up into the bell tower, and she sees Jonathan there standing in plain sight, just holding a rifle like a fucking big dumb dipshit. Like, good God, dude. And she starts looking around like, fuck, how am I going to get up to the bell tower in time? And then she just makes no attempt at hiding any of this. She runs up the the handrail of the stairs, jumps up, parkours her way onto the roof with this physically impossible flip.
She does like a leap that's like a 3-foot vertical.
Yeah.
And then pulls herself up.
She swings and then does like a backflip onto the roof. And in plain sight, there's like 30, 40 people in the quad.
Everybody's outside.
And everybody's looking at her doing this.
Yeah.
And the girl that Buffy was cheating off of in class sees her do that. And she goes, I could fucking do that if I really wanted to.
And that's when I was like, I wrote down, the students of this school are so delusional. This is why they don't know about vampires.
Yeah.
Like, like you can't see her do this and that be the only reaction.
Yes. And also, like, you can't see her do this and then not follow her elsewhere.
or follow her eyes and be like, oh, there's a guy with a gun up there.
Yeah. Like, you don't, like, see where she's going or why she's doing this.
Yeah.
Like, Buffy has never done this before in school.
She's done, like, punches, but, like, she's never done, like, that run up the staircase is great. Then the jump, and then the, like, pulling yourself up.
The run up the staircase, physically possible.
Physically possible. Cool visual. I loved it.
Yeah. The jump to grab, like, the awning, I would still say that's in the realm of possibility for, like, a parkour expert, maybe.
Not for a 18-year-old girl that hasn't done, I don't know.
But that flip up onto the roof is physically impossible.
With core strength. Those crunches were not giving her that core strength.
Like, I don't care if she's a slayer. I don't care. There's no way that she would have landed on that roof.
Well, slayers, yeah. Slayers are supernatural. You're saying we saw her jump over like a 10-foot fence.
Yeah, but like the physics of this, like the momentum would have there's no way that she would have done this. There's no fucking way.
She's got the witch powers of Willow guiding her through the air. She rode a cloud and a tortoise the other day. You're saying she can't do this?
You know what? You're right.
Come on, Giles.
I forgot about the cloud and the tortoise.
Yeah, it's just like I can't believe that was that girl's reaction. I could do that if I wanted to. Like, what?
So then Buffy runs over to the clock tower and Jonathan's drenched in sweat. He's got his gun fully assembled now. And Buffy bursts into this, like breaks through the...
What is this room, too?
I have no idea. There's no bell in there. Like, it's a bell tower, but there's no bell, it looks like.
It looks like it's like... It looks like a watch. It looks like a maintenance shed. It looks like it has like that wall full of tools. But why are they up there? Who keeps their tools at the top of a... Yeah.
The purpose of this tower is for snipers. It's literally the only purpose this thing could have. But Buffy busts in. Like, I'm not joking when I say breaks in. She breaks through a wall, like a little like blind thing to get in there. And Jonathan turns around and he points his gun at Buffy. He's like, stay back, Buffy. And she's like, all right, I will. I'll stay back, but Jonathan, you can't be doing this. And he's like, what do you care? What do you care? You all you don't care about me. You know, you probably think I'm up here. You think I'm some short, dumb idiot. And then Buffy, Don Draper's him. And she goes, actually, I don't think about you at all. You know what? Most people don't think about you at all. You're insignificant, dude. And let me tell you why. You think it's because that nobody cares about you. You think that it's... And she starts walking towards him. He's like, stay back. I'll fucking shoot you.
She's like, all right. She's a slayer, but bullets will kill her.
Yeah, exactly. And then she starts, waxing poetic about, look, dude, nobody thinks about you, not because they don't care about you or they think that you're a short idiot or you're a nerd or whatever. It's just like nobody thinks about you because everybody's thinking about themselves. Everybody's worried about their own shit. Everybody's going through all these stresses in life. And if you think that they're worried about your problems, you are an idiot because they don't care about you at all. And I learned that the last couple days because of my mind reading abilities that I will not tell you about. And she's looking out the window and she's basically standing right next to Jonathan at this point. And Jonathan's like looking at her, mouth agape. Mm-hmm. And she's like, and then after her speech about, like, everybody's going through their own shit, she turns to Jonathan and she's like, I could have taken that gun from you at any moment right now. And he's like, I know that. She goes, but I'd prefer if we did it this way. And she holds out her hand and Jonathan gives her the gun. And she goes, I mean, I don't know what you were thinking about doing, man. Like, you think that you're doing this all for the attention? Like, this isn't the attention that you want. And he's like, do it for the attention? What are you talking about? I didn't want anybody's attention. She's like, you were going to shoot people. Like, this isn't the way to do it. This isn't the way to get good attention. And then Jonathan's like, I wasn't going to hurt anybody. I would never do that. I came up here to kill myself. And then Buffy's like, wait, what?
All right. So there's another part of this, like early on, where he's like, oh, you wouldn't know. You're beautiful and athletic. Yeah. And like everyone knows she's athletic, yet somehow Principal Snyder hasn't forced her to play sports.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that he does say, like, yeah, it's real easy for you to say, like, you're beautiful and athletic. That's a real crippler.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you don't even know how bad I have it. You little troll, you sweaty troll. like, indicate. So they have that, and that's kind of why they set up her, like, oh, I hate being a slayer. It's not that easy. He put together the most convoluted gun if he was planning to kill himself. Mm-hmm. Physically, it's like a shotgun where it's almost impossible to shoot yourself with.
Yeah.
Like
he has to like hold it like arms outstretched super far.
Yeah. Like No, like this is complete like forced mislead. There's no way he's shooting himself in the head with a sniper rifle.
Maybe that's the only gun he has.
That's the only gun he has. He could have jumped out of the tower.
How did he get that gun? Like, is his dad like ex-military or something?
Yeah, like that is like heavy duty.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a gun that you would shoot yourself with. And then when he hands it to Buffy and they're standing in the windowsill, I'm like, you guys should back up.
Yeah.
Because they just saw you run up here and now they're seeing him hand you a gun.
And then Buffy like disarms it.
Like I thought she was gonna like break it down like in those Jackie Chan movies where he would just like take the whole gun apart.
Yeah, disassemble it in like 2 seconds.
But she takes the one bullet out of the chamber, which I don't know how she knows how to do that since she doesn't
that's what I was thinking.
She doesn't train with guns at all. But she was straight up military right there.
Maybe Xander gave her some military guy training.
Yeah, where's
maybe
Xander's?
She read Xander's mind, got the military guy training, and
Xander's military guy training said, "Oh, if you see jello, you go to jello."
Yeah,
but yeah, that was a. Another thought I had with this was that I didn't believe at all that Jonathan was planning to shoot people, even when this was happening, because from all of our exchanges with our fans and our comments on Jonathan. If Jonathan was to somehow turn out to be a mass shooter at a school, I don't think people would have been like, yeah, Jonathan should have been in that episode. Or like,
I was like, in Doppelgangland, we were like, Jonathan needs to be there with a big glug or giant glug or whatever.
It would have really been just a damaging thing for him. So I didn't think that he was actually going to shoot everyone.
I will say that it was a nice, like, because we've been seeing hints of Jonathan all throughout the series. And it was a nice way to like fold him into a main storyline for at least this episode, you know? Like it was pretty cool. It was like all these Easter eggs of Jonathan, and then it finally builds up into, well, what ends up to be really nothing. But he was an integral part of this episode.
Well, he was mad when Buffy saved him from the swim team bullies. Because it was like that was the male ego episode of rapey dudes, swim team, and Xander being like, hey, I can handle Larry.
Yeah.
Didn't Larry come out in that episode too? I think he did. I think he came out in that fish episode.
Was it? When all the swim team was turning into...
No. When did he go to the locker room? When does Larry come out? I know it's in the locker room.
Yeah. I don't think it is the swim team episode, to be honest.
I feel like it might have been because it was one of those interrogation scenes. Again, where everyone was going around interrogating.
Right. It might have been.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Jonathan's like, I would never hurt anybody. I came up here to kill myself. Like, why would you kill yourself up there? Also.
Yeah, like if you sent a letter into the school paper.
In the middle of the day.
I mean, who knows when he sent that in, because the guy hasn't been...
No, but like, why would he kill himself there in the middle of the day? I guess to like make everybody feel bad about not thinking about him.
Yeah, it's a little bit of...
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So after he's like, I wasn't going to hurt anybody. I was going to kill myself. And Buffy's like, wait a second. What? We cut to Xander. And Xander is walking in the cafeteria. And he's following his nose to the jello. And he goes to grab the jello and he's about to eat it. And then he looks up and he sees the lunch lady, who is just dumping a gigantic box of rat poison into this gigantic pot and giving the shifty eyes.
It is the most cartoonish thing I've ever seen in my life. And I kind of love it. Like, it's not great, but I kind of love it.
It was very funny. And this is where I was like, is this tactful? Is this... Well, because like the scene before, they're dealing with like, everybody's going through their own pain. This guy's about to kill himself. This is like serious subject matter. Yeah. And then the literal next scene is like a woman evilly and cartoonishly, like shifty eyes, putting a gigantic, enormous box of rat poison into like a stew.
It's like... It's like powdered detergent level, and like you just hear it splashing. Like it's the size of the pot and the size of the box of rat poison she's pulling in there is more poison than food.
Yeah.
Also, the cafe outside was full of people, right? Mm-hmm. And the cafeteria also has people in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she should have done this the night before. Like, it's no way she's doing this during the service.
Yeah, it seems like she's doing this. It seemed like after lunch.
Yeah, like people already have food. Yeah.
So Xander and her have like a moment of eye contact, and Xander throws the jello down. He's like, "Oh shit, everybody! Put the food down!" He runs outside, starts slapping trays and slapping dishes out of people's hands. The lunch lady grabs a gigantic meat cleaver and starts chasing him. Xander's slapping all this stuff, and then he eventually does the old trip and fall.
The old trip and fall. They can't help it.
Yeah, and the lunch lady comes out with her giant meat cleaver in front of, I would say, in this cafeteria,
20.
at least 20 people.
At least 20.
And she's got this meat cleaver reared back. She's going to come down and chop Xander. And Buffy comes in. She grabs her arm and saves Xander. And she's like, "Oh, I should have known it was you." It's
like, I don't even know how she knew to come straight to the cafeteria then.
Right? How the fuck did she know it was the lunch lady?
She just jumped straight down from the tower and ran to the cafeteria.
And then Buffy and the lunch lady have a fight in front of these at least 20 people. Mm-hmm. And the lunch lady's holding her own for a second against the Slayer. Lunch lady's punching Buffy. Buffy's spin kicking this lunch lady.
Yo, and everyone's just watching.
Yeah. And then Buffy kicks her like 2 or 3 times and then finishes her off with like a gigantic spin kick. And the lunch lady goes flying over a table, falls over a table, and then has the most cartoonish like pass out, knockout moment.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely hilarious. And I loved it.
Yeah, I mean,
but I felt like this really undercut the serious nature of this.
My episode. Undercutting happens later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I knew they would have another twist because, like I was saying, I didn't believe that Jonathan was gonna have this heel turn, kind of like Fate did, you know?
Yeah. And I think I know exactly the moment of undercutting with you.
Yeah.
Because it was very weird and like really bitchy.
Yes.
So let's get to it. So it's school the next day, and Buffy and Willow are walking to school, and all that Willow's concerned about is like, how did it go with Angel? They're talking about like, "Oh, do you think Angel really loves you?" And Buffy's like, "Yeah, you know, he said it again, and I feel a lot more secure, and I don't really need to be in his mind to know that he is like into me." And Willow's like, "Cool, all right, well, I'll talk to you later." Giles walks up. Willow walks away, and Giles is like, "So, shit was crazy yesterday, huh, with Jonathan, right? How's he doing?" And Buffy's like, "He's doing all right. You know, he is suspended from school. He's getting some counseling now. His parents were upset, but, you know, I went and I visited him, and I've been talking with him, and he seems like he's doing better. He knows what he was doing was wrong. But honestly, I kind of wish I wasn't doing this at this point, because he's starting to get those puppy dog eyes where it's like he's going to ask me to prom." And then Giles goes, "Well, I mean, if he does ask you, you know, maybe it'd be like the nice thing to do to go with him." And Buffy goes, "Fuck no. What am I, Saint Buffy? That guy's like 3 feet tall. I'm not going to fucking go to prom with that shrimp loser."
Yeah. I was
Jesus Christ, dude.
I was like, so if you relate to Jonathan and you're watching this episode in the 90s, you know, and you're like, okay, all right, maybe. And it's like, nope, no hope for you. They were just saying what they want to your face. Like, I was like, you don't need that.
It was so catty.
She could have she could have said something like, "Yeah, I don't think Angel would like that." Boom. There you go. You like have her say that she's not going to go to the dance with him, but she doesn't shit on this guy.
Yeah. Like, this was like a Cordelia line.
Yeah.
But she was so upset about like, no, perished the thought.
Yeah, so not Saint Buffy.
I'd sooner die than go to prom with that fucking loser.
You'll find me in the bell tower. Like, jeez, Buffy. Because the scene starts with her being like, it was nice to help someone in a non-slayer capacity. And I was like, oh yeah, nice. You could actually like help people without having to punch or jump kick them. Yeah. But no, she
just goes right ahead and gives him good roasting.
Yeah.
So Giles is like, well, I'm glad to see that through all of this, you've maintained your personality. And she's like, yep, hard to get that away from me. And he's like, all right, well, now that we are through with that, you want to do some training after school? And Buffy's like, yeah, I'm down to do some training after school if you can find time between fucking my mom. And then she walks away, and then Giles walks directly into a gigantic tree.
Like, the episode turns into like a Looney Tunes. He walks into a tree.
Yeah, the rat poison.
Yeah, rat poison and jello. Like,
I mean, jeez, dude. Like, but that is it. Roll credits after Giles bumps himself into a tree.
And the funniest thing that you were talking about, like, they were like, how's Angel doing? How's Jonathan doing? No mention of the lunch lady who was trying to poison a whole school full of children.
Yep. And no mention of if she was successful earlier, because Xander's slapping trays out of people's hands. Like, how early did she get to poisoning this? Did she have another gigantic box of rat poison?
Is she suspended? Is she in jail? Is she arrested? Like,
no mention of that.
No mention. She's not that important. She's just there for a comic. Well, like, why is she killing all of them? Because they don't like our food?
Because you come in every day and you eat filth. You're filthy and all you do is eat filth. It's like, you're the one serving it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is she like a gourmet chef and like she's sad about her job or career ending up the way that it did? Like,
I don't know. Like,
but that is the quote. She was like, you guys come in here and you're filthy and all you do is eat filth. Like, that's your motivation for mass murder?
No.
Wild. But that is it, everybody. That's the episode. That is Earshot. No idea. Our fucking predictions were way.
Well, I thought she would overhear. I thought she would overhear something.
But I mean,
I didn't think. I thought it was going to be overhear something about her being a slayer or demon stuff. I did not know she was going to get the power to read minds at all.
But the title has nothing to do with the episode.
Like being within earshot, it's like hearing something. I mean,
that's a stretch. That's a bit of a stretch.
The whole episode is a bit of a stretch.
This whole series is a bit of a stretch.
I couldn't hear what it sounded like. I couldn't tell if it was a male voice or a female voice. They just did a male voice so that we think it was a teacher.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Next episode, Vance, is so. This is the weird thing: is the chronology of how these episodes aired. So it went Enemies, and then this next episode actually is the one that came after Enemies. So Earshot aired much later because of the whole Columbine thing. So in the actual chronology of how this show happened back in the day, it went Doppelgangland, Enemies, and then this next episode, which is titled Choices. What do you think Choices?
So Choices aired on TV then, or this is we're watching it the way it actually aired?
No, we're watching it out of order at this point.
Really?
Yeah, because Earshot got postponed to September, and this Choices actually aired May 4th. Enemies aired March 16th.
So we're watching it the way it should have been aired, but it didn't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Because the original air date, original scheduled air date for Earshot was April 27th. Nice. So we are actually on the canonical track.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, the next episode, Vance, is titled Choices. I think this is having to do with Faith having some kind of conflict and choices that she has to make, and Buffy having to make a choice about whether or not to try and save Faith or if she's a lost cause.
All right. I think it could either be Xander choosing between jello or pudding. or Wesley choosing between jail or Cordelia.
There you have it, folks. Those are other predictions. Thank you for listening. Join the Discord. Have a lot of lively conversations happening there a lot recently. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/Boys Watching Buffy. We're going to have some stuff. Get in on that early access. Follow the Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy. Write in an email, boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. Like, rate and review, subscribe, all that jazz. You know, if we get a fucking good rate and review, we shout you out. Little incentive there for you. You'll be shouted out on a world famous Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast.
Immortalized on the airwaves. Exactly.
And stay tuned next time, everybody, for when we talk about choices.
It was intense.
Yeah, for a minute there, I thought you were going to make an expression.
Well, I felt one coming on, I won't lie.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.